today in Woburn. I'm your host, Samantha Stone, and today we have another election episode. Welcome, Mayor Scott Galvin. Welcome.
Thanks, Samantha. It's good to be here.
So I know you're on every week, and we get to talk about things going in the city. But today we're going to dedicate our discussion to your candidacy for mayor, and I really appreciate you taking time out to do that.
Yeah, it's great to have an opportunity. So thank you.
I thought we'd start the conversation with just asking you a little bit about, you're reflecting back. I think it's been 12 years. Correct me if I have the number of years wrong.
It's actually 14.
14.
Just counting.
Wow. I didn't count correctly this morning. So, yeah. Clearly a long time in office and serving our community, and we're grateful for that. I thought I'd give you a chance to talk a little bit of reflecting back on those 14 years and some of the things you're most proud of.
Yeah. So it's been 14 years, and I enjoy it immensely. Prior to being mayor, I was on the city council, and grew up in Woburn. My wife grew up in Woburn. We raised 4 children. All went to the Woburn schools, did very well, and then they went to different colleges, and again, well adjusted. Thank God, doing what they like to do. And as I said, I was a city councilor. I also am a lawyer. Went to Providence College and got my law degree at New England School of Law on Stewart Street. Had a real nice run with my practice. I did a lot of real estate conveyance work, estate planning, some elder law. And, when I became mayor, I made a decision. A difficult decision was to close my office down. And it was an important decision for a number of reasons. One, the job of mayor is a full-time job, needed my full focus. And number two, when you have a business, there's always inherent conflicts. And, I just thought at that time it was the best thing to do. My wife wasn't too happy about it. It was a significant salary cut, and, we made it work. And, the salary of mayor has increased from when I started, so that's helped a bit. But, a lot of great times over the past 14 years. And as I say, if you look around the city, we've made a number of investments, and this is, what I always like to say is we make these investments to make Woburn a better place and a great place to raise a family, to live, and to work. So you look around and you can see the improvements, which I'm really proud of. And I've led those improvements, but again, you can't get things done by yourself. And we've had a lot of a good working relationship with the city council, with the school committee, with different departments, state agencies, and you can see it. You can see it in the city. We've got brand new elementary school at the Earl Wyman. Also, when I became mayor, the Goodyear School was had just been approved, so we brought that online. We built a new library. We built a beautiful fire station and parks. We've done a lot with our parks in the city, which are great for the young families. We bought an unprecedented number of acres of open space. We've done over 90 acres, which really is important to add green space, and again, adds to passive and active recreation opportunities. But those are really, I think, great things for the community. And also, we've managed to continue to keep Woburn very affordable. We have the lowest average tax bill around, and we've worked hard to make Woburn financially stable. And one of the things I really point to with a lot of pride is that working with my financial team, we brought the city to a AAA bond rating, which sometimes you and I have talked about it, and you made the astute observation. It's really like a credit score. It's an individual's credit score, and we have the best bond rating available to that communities can get, and it shows. And it's helped with some of our borrowings, particularly the new fire station, which we got an incredibly low interest rate, which will save taxpayers a lot of money.
It's a lot to look back on those times. You mentioned, sort of Woburn being affordable. And I do think, in terms of tax rates and a lot of the city services we get, that some cities you have to pay for those services. We are very fortunate. I think one of the things that still remains a challenge for a lot of people and is an increasing challenge is affordable housing. And we're seeing a lot of renters in particular over the last couple of years. The rents have just gone up. I know that we've had a lot of new developments in, and we're certainly sticking to the law that requires an affordable housing component. the truth is that, what's affordable is, different for a lot of different people. As you look at the problem that exists and protecting sort of the diversity of economy, different people from different backgrounds in our community, are there more things that we can do to help support those families who are struggling to find homes to rent or homes to buy in our community?
So one of the things that we've done, we have done in the city, and it's for a number of reasons. We worked on a housing production plan, which gets the city to 10% affordable. 10% of our housing stock is considered affordable housing. So, we did it for a couple of reasons. One, of course, was, to protect neighborhoods from 40B projects. And 40B projects are the ones that come in with the affordable components, Samantha, and they just run right over zoning requirements, and they cause a lot of hard feelings in the community. So what we did, working with the planning board and my administration, we brought the city up from 8% affordable housing to over 10%, which got us to safe harbors, meaning that we wouldn't be subject to a 40B that wouldn't have to comply with zoning. Doesn't mean a 40B couldn't come into the city or request to be located, but it just means that the zoning still needs to be complied with, which is the most important part. So as far as the affordable housing, I think Woburn certainly does its share and then some. So I would really point to that.
Okay, that's great. This is a little bit silly, but I had lots of people send in notes about this, so I'm just going to let you clear the air about it. Yep. So in recent days, there were 3 events that are titled Mayor thing, right? 2 of which have been long-standing things. Mayor's Field Day. I think there was a senior breakfast or luncheon, and then there was the Mayor's Pickleball tournament. And there's been some accusations, I should say, conjecture, things that those were somehow called mayors as an attempt to support your campaign for re-election. Given that 2 of those things are long-standing things and long time, I can't even say it with a straight face, to be honest with you, but I am curious, and I will ask the question: how do these things get named and come about, and just give you an opportunity to address that?
I think that's it's I don't want to say it's much ado about nothing, but it really is. I think for people to make something of that, I think it's actually insulting. The mayor's senior dinner has been 40 plus years, and that was established by Mayor Tom Higgins, and it's always been a tradition for all mayoral people who hold the office of mayor to have the mayor senior dinner. It's not called the Mayor Tom Higgins senior dinner. It's not called the Mayor Scott Galvin senior. It's the mayor's senior dinner because it's a tradition that the mayors are expected to and really embrace carrying on that tradition. So that to me is a bit of a problem. The Mayor's Field Day with recreation is the same thing. I don't know when that started, but again, it's not called the Mayor Scott Galvin or the Mayor Jack Rabbit Field Day or Mayor Bob Dever. It's the Mayor's Field Day, and it's it's by tradition. And again, it's something that's nice for the mayors to get down and see all the children and families that participate in so many great recreational events that go on over the summer. Now, the pickleball tournament is kind of the same thing. I would expect that the next mayor at some point down the road would still continue the tradition. It's going to be called the Mayor's Pickleball Tournament. And again, we've made some investments in recreation, and it's to go down to Library Field at the Senior Center and see all the residents who are participating in really a fun activity. I think it's great for the city, and it recognizes the efforts that we make to provide good recreational events for our residents. So I don't take it serious, and I find sometimes you see these things and they show up on different Facebook groups and it goes with the turf. A lot of people want to insult people, mayors in other cities and towns, and particularly in this case they want to insult people. So if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do.
I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about businesses in our city. We're fortunate to have a significant commercial base along with a residential base, which both brings us tax dollars and jobs right in our community, as well as a lot of services and things that are available to us. We rarely have a new position in city government where we actually create a whole new position. We recently did that with the Economic Development Director, Casey, who's been on the show a couple of times. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to look ahead. And do you think that there'll be additional new positions that you would create as your go forward strategy that we should know about, or things that tell us what some of your high priorities are?
Well, let's start with the economic development position. That economic development position I think, will produce dividends for the city as it goes by. Casey's, new on the job, and she's made a good impact, I think, in the community. That position is being funded through a grant. That's a grant from the Woburn Development Corp. So they're paying for the first 3 years of the position, which again it's a great opportunity, and it's a great financial arrangement for the city. We have over the past couple of years, there's been two new positions that we have created. They haven't, well, actually, we'll get into that. We've created the position of grant writer and sustainability manager, and that position is in the process of being filled. There's also an assistant facilities manager to help with some of the new buildings that are coming on. Those two positions were, approved by the city council, and we're in the process of filling them. The third position, again, which you and I have talked about a number of times, is the drug outreach coordinator / mental health position, which again is being funded partially by the city and partially by funds that we're getting from the drug companies that have made settlements with the government. So we're seeing some money there. Those are the three positions we see right now. As far as any other positions, at this point I don't see any coming. We're trying to manage what we have, and I think we're doing a very good job with that. So right now, that's it.
The grant writer position is great to hear about, because that's such a key way for us to fund additional things without requiring additional tax revenue. I don't believe that you filled out the Woburn Welcome Survey, but there was a question on there I wanted to ask you about, and maybe you have since submitted it, but I hadn't seen it yet. And there was a question in there about diversity and inclusion. And, today, I don't think anybody would disagree with this. Our city government, our school staff, sort of across the board, doesn't necessarily reflect the diversity of our community. And that has been the case for quite some time. And one of the things I talked about was creating an office of diversity and inclusion. And I wanted to give you the opportunity to talk about whether you felt that was a valuable thing to do, and if not, how else you might be prepared to address increasing diversity across our community.
Yeah, I think we have a human resources department that does a very good job. As far as employment issues, we have worked with because a number of our positions are civil service positions, Samantha. So we've worked with the Civil Service Commission. In fact, we at times asked for, and we're working with civil service on doing minority hiring lists, which would more, as you said, more reflect the diversity in the community. We've had a hard time with civil service getting that accomplished, not for a lack of trying, but just for a lack of getting it done. I can say that I know it's not the question, but diversity is important, and some of the candidates that we're seeing, we're able to bring on minorities, which is helping. But again, it's from our purpose, or from our perspective, we've tried, and we do have certain restraints with civil service, which is, for our police and fire, which are the biggest departments of the city. And we do have, we've added diversity in some of the other departments. Particularly proud of the women that we've added to the city, and a number of my appointments right here in City Hall are women, which they've done fantastic. And also in the police department, we've since I've been mayor, we've appointed, I think, 4 females. One of them has made it up to the ranks of lieutenant, which is very impressive. So, there are a number of issues there, and I really think that human resources is doing a good job. and continue to work with civil service to see how we can increase the diversity.
One of the things I want to talk about is there are always more infrastructure projects to do than money to do it. And there will be forever in time, right? There's always lots of important things to do. And one of the hard things to do as mayor is to help prioritize and decide what we budget in any given period of time. And there are some things, this is just an example of it, it's not meant to be a question about this, where, for example, parts of Woburn communities have flooding during storms, right? And there's some storm drain concerns there. But it affects some neighborhoods and not the city overall. How do you, over the last 14 years, and as you look forward, how do you prioritize investments, particularly in neighborhoods which are maybe less busy, aren't as trafficked as often, and make those decisions so they don't get completely neglected, but are offset by things that are going to serve maybe greater numbers of our residents?
Well, I mean, that is the point you just made at the end there, Samantha. A number of the, when you're looking at infrastructure projects, we start at what's going to have the biggest impact for city residents, businesses that come here. What's going to have the biggest impact? So we, even when we start with paving, originally we start with, we want to make sure that our main roads are taken care of, well paved, and same thing with flooding. We want to limit the flooding on main roads, the water infrastructure. So we look at the main roads first, and we work our way back. As far as paving, we have a pavement management system where we rank all our roads and we try to abide by what the results are and pave the lowest rated streets. But sometimes, we have streets in different on the back roads that, one of the streets may be terribly rated, but the one adjacent to it, or because we have different roads that fall up, might not be as lowly rated. So when you make a decision, it might have a rating that doesn't necessarily require to be paved, but you do it anyway because you're in that area. So we look at, we have all kinds of ways we look at things. But the infrastructure needs that we've done a great job as far as relining our sewers, relining our water lines, and then just, our investments in some of the bigger capital projects. But, drainage is another animal that you had mentioned. And, again, we've got, we don't want to say we solved the problem, but the Four Corners used to, flood anytime you got 2 or 3 inches. Now we've worked the problem. We know where it is. And we're actually in the process right now, again, of doing an annual, not quite annual, but again, cleaning the culvert underneath the road that caused the problem. But we've done a great job. And I think the flooding in that area has improved tremendously. And this summer, you're seeing it this summer, and we've had rain this summer like we've never had before. And the amount of rain that comes down in a short period of time, the drains, just don't handle it. But within a relatively short time, it's like a funnel, Samantha. The rain only, the systems are designed for 100-year storms, and when you get such a strong velocity of rain in a short period of time, it is going to back up. But we drive around after, and with for the most part, within 45 minutes, an hour later, the drains do go down. Now that's not in every situation, but for the most part, that's what we see at the DPW. And again, the rain this summer and last year we had a drought. This year we've had more rain than we know what to do with, which is a good thing.
Yeah, we certainly have. Greener grass for sure,
Yeah.
which has been nice for sure. I wanted to ask a little bit about retirement system. So there was, I get, this is not my data, so I'm trusting the person who sent this to me. So please correct me if it's incorrect. But there was a report that many communities, in fact, 80+ communities, increased the cost of living allowance for the retirement systems by 2%. Woburn was not among them. And wanted to understand why we chose not to participate, and I guess in my case, verify that data is in fact correct.
Yeah, we did. The cost of living adjustment was 3%. That's what that was. Some communities went an extra 2% to increase the cost of living by 5%. I felt that 3% was sufficient.
Okay, thank you.
Particularly when that's what we were giving for raises to our public employees. Some weren't quite getting 3%. So we looked at it and looked at the cost associated with it, and also thought it was equitable when the employees that are coming to work were getting an average of 2.5% cost of living. Some were getting slightly more, but we thought a 3% cost of living for the seniors was fair.
Okay. We had, excuse me. We had the opening of the Pocket Park, which was a wonderful thing to celebrate. I saw pictures of it. It looked amazing. I did hear that there was an unfortunate disruption from someone in the audience sort of yelling things. And, people have the right to do that. It's, sort of unfortunate when we're celebrating something that the DPW worked so hard to create for us. But, my question is, the strike was a while ago. Tempers hopefully have had an opportunity to sort of calm down, but there's still a lot of angst and still a lot of frustration in the community about support for teachers and educators, and wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about some of the ways you have or maybe will be helping to repair those relationships so that we can get back to the business of building the best schools in our community and focusing on the students instead of focusing on something that has happened in the past.
Well, first of all, the event was irrelevant. It wasn't, I've never seen the person before. It's not a, I don't even know if it's a Woburn resident, but again, from my perspective, the issue was in the past. We had our dealings with the strike, and we went through all, my opinion on the strike, which is no secret. The strike was illegal. And with that being said, I think that, our offer to the teachers prior to the strike, was basically the same thing that was, that we came to agreement after the strike. So I think the strike, had its impact, and now I've moved on. I think, everybody else wants to move on. It's, we've got a great school system. We fund it, on a regular basis. We provided great funding for the schools, over 4% annually, which again is, 40 on average, 45% more than what net school spending is required at the state level. We've made major capital investments in the schools. This year, the budget alone, Samantha, which I know you followed, the funding went up significantly. We went up on our funding, all funding told about 9.8%, which is again not a sustainable number, but given some of the circumstances we see, we thought it was something we could do. And again, we talked about the ESSER funding, which I've made clear in my correspondence with the city council. We brought it down. There's additional funding above and beyond that 9.8% for the school needs, which in the tune of $1.8 million in ESSER funding, which when that goes away, we're really going to have to find a way to taper back, those fundings, the funding, or find ways to make the budget work. And again, you look at the overall enrollment in the school, Samantha. I know some of the dynamics have changed, but if you go back 10 years, our enrollment was 4,800. It's down to 4,300. That's 500 less students than we had, 10 years ago. And I know some of the needs have certainly changed, but again, we're working really hard to fund the schools, to make sure that the education keeps moving forward for our students, and to give the teachers the tools they need. So I think, to answer your question, we're supporting the schools. We're doing what we need to help the teachers succeed and the students succeed.
I have one more question for you, and then I'm going to give you the opportunity to just sort of address the audience and sort of summarize why they should vote for you. There is no secret that, and certainly based on a whole bunch of public posts that are being made, that there are members of the fire department who are dissatisfied with staffing levels and some things that have happened there, the number of dispatchers and things, for example. And I think it's important for us as a community to address the safety of the claims that have been made, and address some of the funding. So I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that and address the concern that the decisions that have made leave us in a vulnerable and unsafe position, and also talk about any, things that we want to just make sure that the facts are clear and understood.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity to do that. So first of all, the fire department in the past year and a half has gone from 72 men to 80 men. That's an increase of 8 men. so the department has increased. As far as dispatching, and you need to remember this, prior to we built a new station, the $23 million station, state-of-the-art station. The fire department was dispatching right down the street at the Central Square station. Now, as of January, just before January, 65% of the time, Samantha, 65% of the time, there were 4 men, a maximum of 4 men at that station, 1 dispatcher, captain, and the ambulance. That's 65% of the time. There are 4 guys that could have been there at a maximum time. I've never heard any issues from any of the 3 chiefs that I've worked with. Never really heard anything from the department, but clearly never heard anything from the chiefs about any concerns about dispatching. Now, remember, I just said there were a maximum of 4 people there, 65% of the time. So fast forward to the new station. So the new station we have, we're going to take these numbers. We have the dispatcher. Now we have four men full-time on the ambulance. That's 5. We've got another pumper with 3 more guys. That's 8, right? So you got the captain, the dispatcher, the 4 men on the ambulance. That's 6. 3 guys from the fire engine. That's 9. We brought everybody down from the headquarters, meaning the chief, 10, the deputy, 11. We've got another training captain, 12, and we've got 2 fire inspectors. So we have now 15 people in the station to assist with the dispatch if there's problems. 15 now. And like I said, at the old station, we had 4. So there's certainly support for the dispatcher. And again, you know, at a time if the chief says, you know what, we need to make some changes here. And I haven't heard it from Chief Kenton. I haven't heard it never heard it from Chief Adgate or Chief Ring. Now we're hearing it. And there's 15 people potential support to help in the dispatch. Whereas I said clearly there were only at 65% of the time, 4 people, never had any problems, never had any issues. So I think we do need to get to the bottom of that. And the other thing is, like, we do watch on a monthly basis, we watch the number of calls. We watch how many, calls come in, how many calls go out. And we're, as we looked at the monthly numbers, there's about an average of 24 calls a day, 24 calls to dispatch, emergency dispatch calls. So we're looking at that again, 24 calls a day. There was an issue that was a total representation about the heavy rescue being taken out of service, which was not the case. The heavy rescue is not a frontline piece of equipment, Samantha. It's a nice to have. It has a lot of good things on it, but that was not taken out of service. It was an absolute misrepresentation. It was not taken out of service. I talked to the chief because there were some overtime issues that had popped up in July, and we decided we would run the heavy rescue 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. At nighttime, we would do, if it needed to go out for a reason, we would make sure it gets out. So it was always available for service. For some reason, the firemen wanted to represent that it was taken out of service, which is not true. Now, just to put it into perspective, Samantha, I made that directive to the chief July 30th. From July 1st to July 30th, the heavy rescue was deployed 5 times. 5 times over 30 days. So I think, sometimes when you're mayor, you have to make these decisions, and you are very concerned about safety issues. And I take them very seriously, but the overtime at that time was high, and we needed to address it. But again, it was never taken out of service. It still isn't out of service. It runs 7 days a week it's staffed 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then at nighttime, I've assured the chief that if he needs to get it out, he can get it out, do what he needs to do to get it out. Okay. So these things sometimes do get misrepresented. The Facebook for the union is not the official position of the city. That's what they want to put out, and they can put it out. I wish they would sometimes just make sure it's accurate.
Okay. Thank you for addressing all those concerns. I think it's important. I think obviously there's hopefully, and it sounds like it's true, if there's need for more dispatch, that's something that we would cross-train people for and explore.
We wouldn't cross-train, but I'm saying if there is need for more dispatch, we'll work with the chief. That's what we do, and that's how things should usually get done. But again, what I'm just stressing is there are more people for support, significantly more people for support in the new headquarters than there ever were, and we never had no concerns were ever brought to my attention by any of the chiefs. So I just, just to be clear, and again, it's a positive thing that's going on in the fight. There's some real positive things going in the fire department. So it's a little concerning to me. We just built a new $23 million fire station, which had been, people were clamoring for that for 50 years, and we got it done. We got the thing done. The equipment that we provide to the fire department is, like I said, is really top notch. Every 2 years, we've been providing the funding for a new engine or a ladder. So over the past 10 years, we've provided the funding for 5 new ladder / pumpers. Same thing with ambulance. It's important to have. It's important for our firemen to have state-of-the-art equipment. Every 2 years, we've been ordering a new ambulance. So there are a lot of good things that are going on down there, and public safety is really important to me as the mayor. And I think that sometimes politics get in the way, but I can assure you that we are very concerned about public safety. We watch it on a regular basis. Every month we go over in our stats. We look at the information. We look at the 3 biggest departments, how they're doing budgetarily. And if there's certain things they need, that's a time for them that we discuss it. So, it's good.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for chatting today about some things we don't always get to cover in our normal weekly chats. As we wrap up, I want to give you an opportunity just to address the audience directly and tell them why they should vote for you in this upcoming primary.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. I've served the city as mayor for the past 14 years, and I'm proud of the progress we've made. I'm proud of the progress that we've made in a collaborative way. I've been really proud of the financial status of the city. I've been proud of the amenities we've added that make the city a great place to live and work and raise a family. And I think the pride in the community shows. It's not every day is an easy day. You have to make some decisions that aren't always going to make people happy. We've worked over the years on collective bargaining agreements, and again, the goal of a collective bargaining agreement is to do what's good for the taxpayers and the employees. So you try to strike a balance. Sometimes it doesn't always come out that way, but in the end, the contracts always balance out. It just works that way. So I'm very happy with how things are going, and being mayor is an honor and privilege. I do want to say, there have been rumors that people say he's going to become a judge, or he's applied to be a town manager. None of that is true. I've never during my time expressed any interest in becoming a judge or town manager. My 100% commitment is right here to the residents of Woburn, which it has been for the past 14 years, and will continue to. So I'm hoping that everybody gets out on September 5th. I'm asking respectfully for your vote, and to continue doing the great things that have gone on in the city. And again, Samantha, thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Woburn, continue to take good care of each other, but also get out there and vote. We are so fortunate, as I've said before, to have 3 people for mayor positions and multiple other people running for positions across our city who are willing to give service to us. And that is such a great privilege for us to have. And for you to have your voice heard, I encourage you to get out there and vote.